Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the match preview. Everton versus Ipswich Town, the penultimate game at Goodison Park and the very, very last one to be played at 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon.
Sad moment.
Don't really feel sad though, would it?
I think it will feel
sad.
sad.
For some people, because it'll be some people's last game.
I think it will feel sad. It's roasting in here, so apologies for the short.
Apologise?
Well, you know what I mean.
Apologise? There's no apologies from us.
Well,
I'm afraid.
You're getting the good.
No apologies. This is bonus content.
Yeah,
this is
only fans.
Yeah, exactly.
Only men.
Shorts.
Only shorts. Yeah. Whatever.
Ipswich Town. Great opportunity for Everton to get back to winning ways and to get a home win. It feels so long since we won a home game.
It is so long since we won a home game. Was it Leicester? The last one we won wasn't it? Leicester City. So yeah, it was ages ago, months ago. Yeah, it's a dangerous game because Ipswich are obviously relegated, so therefore all the pressure's gone, hasn't it? And they've had the best performances. In fact, they've only won once at Portman Road all season. They beat Chelsea, didn't they? But they've won. Their away wins have come away, like Spurs and places like that. So it'll be a tough game, but from our perspective, like you just started with, the last ever 3 o'clock at Goodison on a Saturday. Not the last ever 3, but you know what I mean. Saturday, 3 o'clock at Goodison. Huge display by the 1878s before. And a chance and an opportunity, and about time that the team went out and won a home game and got us into the 40s with the points. And I think the opportunity is there. I think Everton have got to finish the season really strongly by winning both home games. Absolutely. Then that puts us on 44, and then see if we can get anything at Fulham and Newcastle and just nudge the points up. No, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, Ipswich are officially relegated now. Obviously, they got beat 3-0 last week at Ipswich, Newcastle. They had a player sent off as well, didn't they? But yeah, and there is always that thing, teams, they play with freedom. I don't know why teams play with freedom when they're relegated. Just play with freedom all season.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Pretend you're relegated all season, or you're comfortably safe all season.
But obviously, that means we're also we're safe. Obviously, we have been for a while, but officially last week we become safe. So for us, it's the same, isn't it? Play with freedom. Play,
the freedom derby.
It means obviously, in terms of a game, it obviously means more to us, or it should mean more to us, because it is the penultimate game at Goodison Park. It should, both games, they should be putting absolutely everything in. And to be fair, listen, in many, they have been putting everything into games. It's just that we're just not good enough at putting the ball in the back of the net. But going up against a team like Ipswich, a team obviously who do concede a lot of goals, a team obviously we've already beaten this season, opportunity to do double. It is absolutely ideal game, isn't it? To score some goals, get back to winning ways, and set us up for that very last game at Goodison Park against Southampton. Set us up really, really nicely, and also just get us back up the table a little bit. And of course, a couple of teams jumped above us last week. Let's get. I know massively, it doesn't really matter, but financially, you get a few more quid, and obviously, you want to finish the season with a little bit of hope, a little bit of positivity, and this again, as I said, it's a great opportunity because they're a team that we should be beating. Really,
you can't listen without being disrespectful. You can't ask for more than 2 relegated teams for your final 2 home games, can you? And the 2 teams that have come up from the Championship last season. So if you were hand-picking the final couple of home games, it'd be whoever it would. You'd think you'd choose 2 relegated sides, wouldn't you? But that's the easy thing to say before the ball's been kicked. But Everton have got to go out and they have been given everything. I can't sit here and say they're not trying and all that, because I think they are. I think we've just been caught. We did well when Beto was putting the ball in the back of the net. Everyone relaxed a bit, but he stopped scoring. No one else has really stepped up to the plate. But that's been the story of our season. We haven't had too many who stepped up to the plate in terms of putting the ball in the back of the net. Work hard enough, big tick for there. But it's an opportunity to go out and give everyone a great day for Evertonians, because there isn't much to play for. No. We can, as fans, we want to win every single game, of course we do. For players, the relief of, we're not getting dragged into that. But some of them are playing maybe the majority of them are playing for their Everton futures. Some are playing for maybe moves to other clubs if they're not going to stay at Everton. And you've got to go out and show that you're better than the team who's been relegated. And we are, of course we are. And we proved that at Portman Road. We actually went there and we took hold of the game immediately and won the game comfortably. And to be honest, 2-0 flat at Ipswich, I think, that day. Because we missed a lot of chances. We've got to make sure that's the case this Saturday. Well, no, let's not miss chances. Let's score quite a few this week.
Take our chances.
We've got to win a game, and however we win it is the most important thing, because we want to give everyone that feel-good factor. That momentum is building. And obviously, when you take the emotional, and you're absolutely right, for some people, it will be their final game. At Goodison, people who've got match day tickets, obviously not for season ticket holders, but for some people it will be the final time they visit Goodison. And let's say we know that Brien Garside and his 30-odd Swedes are coming over for it, and that's their last ever trip to Goodison. So, you know, send people home like that with amazing memories and build momentum, the manager talks about.
Yeah. Let's just have a look at Ipswich's team that faced Newcastle last week. Obviously, Delap up front. And Cisco obviously behind him, who obviously he's on loan from Brighton, isn't he? Ben Johnson obviously got sent off, so there will be a change there. Possibly a return for Ben Godfrey into the side, maybe. It's in a position.
Maybe.
But you know, you look at their team, there's not a lot of well-known players in there, is there? And obviously they do, when you even look at them on paper, they do look like a championship side, and they just haven't been able to battle with the Premier League clubs this season. They just haven't been able to. The manager obviously has a certain way of playing. He doesn't want to veer from that. There's a lot of talk about him when he came up this season, obviously touted for the Man United job as well. It hasn't for a while. They were the team that you looked at and went, these have got that little bit of fight in them. These have got like their Luton thing last season, even though they haven't done as well as Luton, oddly. But they just don't have that. Where Leicester have looked and Southampton more so have looked really mediocre, I thought at times these looked like, just because they've got that little bit of football and temperament, that they could upset a couple of teams. But what they haven't got and what the other two haven't got is any kind of scrap in them. And that's actually gone, I think, out the window from a lot of teams, because everyone now comes up, and I think Luton are the only one, because everyone comes up and is trying to play this new type of football. None of them have got any scrap in them. And I think we've seen that with Ipswich this season, is none of them are capable of like knuckling down and digging it out and going 5 at the back, and they all come up with that like sense of, oh look, we've just got 100-odd points or whatever it is, and it gives them we're in it right now, aren't we? We're in it right now with teams that are about to be promoted. We'll be told for the next couple of weeks how they're gonna it's all gonna change for them, because they're amazing. Sure. Listen, who knows? But at the same time, if you don't have a bit of scrap in you, then you know, it can be hard. But one player who does have a little bit of scrap in him is Liam Delap, a player who's been linked with Everton heavily this week. You're his biggest fan, aren't you? You absolutely love this lad. I think it's a hangover from his dad's long throws.
Is that what it is? I don't know. I think you really... I don't know
selling it
with this.
Well, you said when he played against us that he was a dog.
He was a yard dog when we played them at Portman.
That's where I was going with it.
He had an absolute nightmare that day, because he stupidly tried to out-bully James Tarkowski, which is a stupid thing to do. I have been impressed with him though at times, so he's obviously very good football. He's a good footballer, he's a young player, he's come through Man City, therefore he's a good player. He's been Ipswich's shining light, I think, all season. We'll see his numbers in a minute. He's got that little bit about him. I just thought when we played them down there, I don't know why, I'm on the pitch, so I don't know whether Tarkowski said something to him in the opening minute that wound up, I don't know. But he just sort of, that day, tried to, like I said, out-bully a very seasoned and tough physical opponent in Tarkowski, and Tarkowski had him in his pocket. In fact, he'd done nothing that day. But he's been really, really good since, and obviously Everton have been linked with him. So he's got a bit about him. Doesn't mind that physical aspect of it. He's got a trick. Can beat a man, and he's put the ball in the net really well for them. And if other players would have had this sort of mentality, I think at times, it might have helped Ipswich. Listen, Kieran McKenna, he played great football. He's done an unbelievable job. They were in League One 2 seasons ago, and they're in the Premier League and have had some good away games and away performances. They didn't spend crazy money in the summer, so it was always going to be a big ask for them, because I think if you actually when you're plotting sort of your route back, they probably could. You're never going to do this, obviously, but they probably could have done with a year in the Championship and then built again for the Premier League. You're never going to do that, of course, because they got up. And in fact, I watched quite a lot of Ipswich at the end of last season.
Yeah. It was the fairy tale story,
and I loved watching them.
Yeah.
They were great. And in fact, I think celebrated a couple of their goals late. They won a couple of games late on. And
who did they stop to come up, though?
You know, listen, who knows?
Was it Leeds?
Leeds coming up, because Leeds are quite mouldy. But no, I was delighted for them, and they come up. And you're right. I think you're right. I think in the early part of the season, I mean, I did say I didn't think any of the promoted three get 30 points. I said that in September, but I thought out of the three, they looked like they had the most, and they did give you that Luton vibe of we're taking it to everybody. Where Luton were able to, and that didn't help them in the end, but I think Luton ground out some results at Kenilworth Road. Ipswich haven't been quite.
And also Luton, I think, obviously helped out by Everton and Forest getting the points deductions. It gave them the boost at the right time, didn't it? But let's just have a look at Delap's numbers. I mean, 12 goals in 33 games. That's a good return, isn't it? For a player who obviously is in a team that's been relegated.
9 as well, so he's overperformed that. But he's got 2 assists as well, and he's busy, isn't he? As you can see from his heat map, he's all over the place, and you know, he's shot 2.5 shots a game, 2.3 shots a game. So he's quite busy. Obviously, England under 21 international as well. Has been linked with other clubs, hasn't he? Arsenal, Manchester United, Chelsea, Forest, Everton, Fulham. So, you know, there's quite a... He
scores goals, doesn't he? He scored goals this season. Okay, he hasn't scored that many.
He's got 3 in 2025.
But he scored goals. Physically, he's, you know, you look at him, and he's got a little bit of... He's almost got like the Haaland running style, because he's all shoulders. And also, but because he came through City as well, it's like he's got that pedigree, hasn't he? He's got that pedigree. So he's not going to stay there, and it's going to be really interesting to see where he goes in the summer, whether he decides to go somewhere where, you know, it might be all glitz and glamour, but are you actually playing, or does he want to take that step below and maybe come up through a team? You know, that's maybe where Everton have got an opportunity, but we'll wait and see. But he's had a good season, and obviously we'll have to look out for him at the weekend. The Everton team that faced Chelsea last week, let's just have a little look at that. Now obviously there's opportunities for changes this week. Obviously we know Tarky's not coming back, so do you think he'll stick with Patterson?
Yeah, I do. What would be the point in bringing in Ashley Young or Seamus Coleman? Really, I think whether people think Nathan Patterson did well last week or was poor last week, you can't judge a player on 63 minutes. He hadn't started at right back for God knows how long, probably over a year or something. I know he played left back against Arsenal and he'd done all right, but it's well over a year since he was in Everton's team as a right back in the Premier League, and he was up against Madwake, who had a good game, and when Young come on, skinned Young as well. So it wasn't just like it was Patterson. So it was a bit of a rough afternoon for him. Although I did think he'd done some bits well, but just other bits.
He wasn't terrible.
No. So I think it'd be really harsh if David Moyes took him out. I think you've got to give him a few games and then make your mind up on him. And if David Moyes decides he's looked at him training and he was unsure, he's looked at him in the Premier League and he's not convinced, then that means Everton need a right back this summer. I know that we've been linked this week with Kyle Walker-Peters and of course Tarek Lamptey, who are both free, both playing the Premier League, have both done really well, and maybe Everton will look towards that. But me personally, I would have Patterson in the side this week as well, obviously, as leaving Jake O'Brien at centre-back as well, because I think we need to look at him with a view to next season. Obviously, no James Tarkowski, so it's pointless for me bringing Michael Keenan, who's looks like he probably will leave the football club next month, because he's out of contract. So at the back, I think I just leave it as it is. Looking into that midfield, did we change the midfield? I would personally, if the manager feels like he needs to play Decore, then I'd play Decore alongside the Drissagana and have Alcaraz ahead of them, because I think Decore is better. He's busy, he gets around and nicks things. We want goals, don't we? We're trying to find more goals in the team. Well, I'd play Decore, he's got 3 goals all season. Not like he's 8 and 9 from that running from deep. So I personally would like to see that bit mixed up.
The answer to the question is Luton Town at home in the FA Cup when we got beat 2-1. That was the last time Nathan Patterson played right back.
There you go.
For Everton.
There you go. So it's it's what, 16 months?
27th of January.
15, 16 months since he faced Premier League opposition at right back, in the team. So it's been a while. So elsewhere, there's like I said, I'd like to see Alcaraz start. There's been stories this week at Everton are unsure on the 15 million. Well, it doesn't, if you believe the reports, we're not going to make that obligation now because he's not going to have started the required games. So there's a bit of negotiating to be done there again, if you believe stories.
I think that was, if they insert, I've said this before, if they inserted that clause, I think that's one of the stupidest clauses anyone's ever inserted into a contract.
Maybe Everton asked for it. To keep
maybe I'm just saying if they did, then it just hasn't worked. No, do you know what I mean? It just hasn't worked for them.
They'd have been better saying, if they really wanted the money, saying something like 10 appearances.
No, I'd like to see Alcaraz play because I do think he's got something a little bit different, and there's no real pressure on. Let him go and play games now. We know that I believe this anyway, and I said this on Saturday after the match, and I think a couple of articles have sort of backed up that the manager's more or less made his decisions on who he wants to keep and who he wants. Well, that I'm just saying that's my opinion, but I've also seen a couple of articles back that up. So
So where's Alcaraz in that?
But I think Alcaraz for me is the only one
where he's unsure.
Not if he's unsure, where I think he has to play. if there's any doubt. Patterson, I think whether he's made his mind up or not, I think Patterson should play. For me,
because you got to try to retain a bit of value in him.
Exactly. And put some confidence into the lad. But Alcaraz, for me, I think should start for two reasons. One, because you're undecided on him, and two, because I think at the moment he should be starting anyway.
He should be starting on the ball and up than most of them.
So what about? I mean, there's two other positions. Right midfield, would you keep Jack Harrison, or does Dwight McNeil have any? Is there any considerations of him playing?
No, I wouldn't play McNeil on the right. I wouldn't throw him in yet. I think he's pieced them in, hasn't he? Like a bit more.
Harrison, would you swap them over? And Jai?
I'd try Harrison on the left and putting Jai on the right, because I'm not convinced it's working. Jack Harrison on the right, he's he done all right against City at home, didn't he? Last week he ran around, we're getting nothing from him. We're getting nothing from him. He works hard, you know what he's going to do, he's going to run around all day for you and put every track back and all that. But if it's all about creativity, Illiman and Jai, at least he's right-footed, at least he can go past someone and cross it with his right. I mean, what you could do is, if he ends up with the core right there, is if you are going to, you could put in Jai behind the striker, or have Alcaraz on the right then and give McNeil or Harrison a go on the left with the left foot. I'm just not convinced when you play on the right hand, when you're on the opposite side to your foot, you've either got to be a really good dribbler or you've got to have real pace about you to go on the outside and be able to use your foot. I think when you haven't got a great turn of pace and you haven't, it's dead easy for them to show you back, show you on the outside that you're not going to use that foot. Dwight McNeil's not using his right foot. So therefore, to block him off coming in field, he's negated, isn't he?
And obviously the other position is centre forward. Bro's your back.
Harder one.
Beto, Jimiti, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, now in training.
I imagine Dom will be on the bench. Therefore, I don't see David Moyes having three strikers on.
So which one do you not put on the bench?
Well, me personally, right? If it was up to me, I would start with Chimiti in this one.
Okay.
Just to see home comforts, Goodison and all that. He's playing. Let's have a look at him, right? But then who do you leave off? Do you leave Brozier off the bench and go, well, you've not really done it? Beto, well, you're starting, then you're not in the 20. That doesn't make sense. Do you do what would be considered an easy one and not have Dom on the bench and go, we're building you up for Fulham away next week? He's only really joined in this week, so the manager might go to a bit early. It's a real tough one. I don't believe he'll start Chimiti. I'm just saying I'd like to see Chimiti. In fact, you could argue Chimiti's the easiest drop.
Do you think there's
the easiest omission?
Do you think there's any? Do you think Moyes could play clever here and go, well, I want you to sign that contract?
So you,
Dom. No, I'm just saying playing games, playing mind games. I want you to sign. Representatives want to show them this is the place for you because actually I want you to play. First time back, you're straight back in the team, mate.
The only listen, he could do, of course he could. I don't know how fit he is.
Yeah, of course.
But being out for 3.5 months and then starting after 1 week's training, I think it's hugely risky. So I'd be him. If he was up to the speed of everyone else, it wouldn't surprise me if the manager did go, you're playing. Because I think because it's quite clear David Moyes thinks Dom's the best out of all of them. Yeah. Listen to his language, it's quite clear he does. Whether he should is a different thing. But if we're taking Dom off the table, to me it seems a flip of the coin between Brozier and Beto. Because I think Chimitti's, if Dom's available, I actually think Chimitti's the easiest omission to make.
Of course, yeah.
And yeah, he's the one I'd probably like to see start, but I don't think he's going to. So I think Brozier will start.
Okay.
Because he took Beto off last week when he just had his best moments, and I've seen managers in the past about to take someone off, they do something and they go and just settle it for 5 because he's come alive. Brozier had that good shot, good saving chances, and then he took him off, and the Chimittic one didn't do nothing. So it'd be, well, I know you're going to be starting 11, but if you had to flip a coin,
couldn't possibly say.
Can't reveal.
You're going to have to tune in for starting 11 show. It's just you know,
interesting.
Would be
no, would it be yeah, because they are one of the only couple of places that you think will be changes, so you're right to not reveal it. Don't spoil it.
Who knows? Maybe I might change more positions. Anyway, listen, Everton, you've got to win this, because I think everybody just believes we are going to win it, and people will be very unhappy if you don't.
They've got to win. We haven't won. We haven't won our own game since February. So it's May actually. Yeah. So
let's get 3 points and then on to the next one. So that should be nice, like a nice home win in the sun. Everyone's chilled out. Just go and do that. Go and do that. I mean,
I'm not convinced the Ipswich fans will be happy with that. But them enjoyed the last ever trip to Goodison.
They're called the Tractor Boys. You know, I've no respect.
And we'll see them in 2 years.
No respect for anyone who's called the Tractor Boys.
Why?
I can't respect that.
I don't know.
I just can't respect it.
I don't think you can say that. It's like Ed Sheeran.
Sort of.
Yeah, well, there you go then. So think of it.
But he's overplayed his hand as well. A couple of years ago, no one had a clue Ed Sheeran was an Ipswich fan, and suddenly here he is riding the tractor up the hill. Come on.
I don't know. Hasn't he sponsored the shirt?
No.
He did in League One. He's done well.
Did he?
He did.
Probably.
He
didn't go to any games.
I think he did.
No, I didn't see him at any. Everyone knows how much of a regular I am.
You're a regular.
Everyone knows how much
and you're always catching them when they're on telly and zooming in on the fans.
He's not hard to miss, is he? The fella looks like Ned. You know, everyone knows that. Yeah. Everyone in Norwich, everyone stopped. Norwich, everyone. In Norwich, they stop.
I apologise, Ipswich.
No, but in Norwich, they stop and go, "Are you Ned?"
Yeah, they do say to him, "Are you Ned?"
Yeah.
Interesting.
Ed Lamb, they call him.
What a name, that Ed Lamb.
Ed Lamb, that's a secret.
Anyway, we digress.
That's a secret sauce name, which of course is mint. But Tractor Boys, no, silly name. What a silly name. The only respect, Toffee. Right? The only real respect I have for Ipswich is half of their squad obviously played in the game against the Nazis with Sylvester Stallone in goal.
The Great Escape.
What?
Whatever.
No, but this was I seen this. This was on the History Channel. What are you talking about? This was a real game that happened, and half of them played.
I know.
What are you talking about?
They've escaped to victory.
You think? No, that's the film. That's the film they made based on the real game.
No, but when you said it, I was like, I think that was Russell Osman.
When all those people run out the stadium at the end, and they all had brand new Adidas stains from the 70s, that was genuinely the 1940s. That's the only respect I've got for them.
I don't know. I as a kid, Ipswich won the UEFA Cup. They were brilliant. Arnold Muir and Franz Tyson, Paul Maronet, Paul Cooper, John Walk. Brilliant team.
The pioneer.
And the pioneer
Adidas kid.
And you know why I always had a soft spot for Ipswich? Because they looked like Everton with the blue-white.
You really like tractors.
And the nets were unbelievable. Portland Road.
And you really like tractors.
Nah, tractors not so much.
So you don't like tractors?
I didn't say I didn't like them. I just said not so much.
H's. No wonder he hates Liam the Bat. Anyway, there you go.
No one hates Liam the Bat.
Feels like it. You hate tractors. And escape to victory.
I don't hate escape to victory. Anyway,
give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already. And if you want more great videos, join us over on Toffee TV Premier. The link is in the description. QR code is coming on the screen now. See you later.